We now move on to our next session with Erica Lovegreen, who's Head of Marketing and Communications at ICUC Social. Now, in her nearly 15-year career, Erica has worked as a journalist, public relations leader, and social media strategist alongside Fortune 500 companies before her current role. She's deeply passionate about the voice of the customer and building communities, great, through storytelling. Fantastic. Hi, Erica. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
Hey, I am doing well. I'm North American based, so it's a little early my side of the pond, but lots of coffee has solved that, and I am super happy to be here.
Great. Well, while you're up on the coffee, let's get you started. I'll hand straight over to you.
Absolutely. Well, I am here to talk about the battle of quality versus quantity in social media and digital community management. Obviously, social media is growing leaps and bounds. The pandemic has certainly lent itself to that. And I'm really excited to share thought leadership around, do we go for a quality approach to our community management, or are we really going for a quantity approach to our community management? There's different tactics I'm seeing brands take. And so as we are customer service leaders and we're thinking about how we want to tackle online conversation, I'm really here to help foster some of those ideas. Again, my name is Erica Lovegreen. I oversee communications and marketing here at ICUC.social. If you're unfamiliar with us, we are one of the world's largest digital customer service and community management agencies. Why I am a thought leader on this topic. In 2020 alone, ICUC, we moderated more than 6 million at mentions for clients on social and digital channels. We engaged over 600,000 times on behalf of brands. So we are deeply embedded. We are the social media frontline workers. We get up and breathe every single day customer care and are really excited to share some of the best practice, best strategies that we see. So two of the strategies I see being deployed within the social community care space: quantity. Quantity is a volumes game. You might be a brand that posts something on social and you get a high volume of engagement, and you're really trying to get through those as quickly as you possibly can. Maybe you're launching ads online and you're getting getting a lot of volume, and you're really just trying to get that volume down, keep your customers happy. The other approach is a quality approach. You might not be able to get to as much volume, but you're really there to create a vibrant conversation and create advocates. It's a slower approach. You might not hit all of your volume, but really you want to create a loyal, highly engaged fan base. I'm here to say that there's not one strategy that is probably better than the other, but it's something that you should consider as a brand when you're looking at resourcing and you're really considering what your key performance indicators are. As you're evaluating your key performance indicators around social media, you have a couple questions you need to ask yourself as a brand leader. For starting, is there a price for ignoring a customer? That is a very big question if you're going for a volumes approach. We don't want to ignore anyone, so we want to get to as many people as we possibly can. But maybe you want to improve your brand sentiment and you really want to build a community. Then just getting to as many people as possible isn't really going to identify those meaningful opportunities for you. So it's a really important thing that you sit down as a brand team, as a customer care team, and think about what are our goals for our digital communities and our shared spaces. The pandemic, we cannot ignore, that has changed the online landscape and created a whole lot more online conversation for all of us. And we know that people spend more time on brand platforms, on social platforms, and they're looking for accountability and looking for brands to really respond in these cultural moments. Also, live streaming has created continuous conversations that are faster than ever before. So there's a lot of considerations going into the quality versus quantity conversation. And I also dare anyone to say quality and quantity 10 times fast after this presentation. It's taken a little bit of practice to get here, so bear with me. Quantity. So if the name of the game for your brand is quantity, there are a few challenges that have led you to probably taking a more quantity approach. At the end of the day, it's resource. You really want to get through volume. Maybe you don't have the talent that can engage at a very high level. You need to be a very special team to be Wendy's that has those really crazy, meaningful Twitter moments. So maybe you just don't have the resourcing and you really just, again, want to get through the volume. Getting through volume can also mean, gap areas as well. Are you missing any platforms, missing any channels? Volumes are growing, so you're having to prioritize through that. Posts have shelf life. If you're going through volume, make sure that you're going back and revisiting old posts and not missing conversation there. The regulated industry chooses this tactic and this strategy most often than not because They can't humanize a lot of what they're doing. So we get a lot of canned, copied and paste responses. One of the challenges you get here is a lot of repetition, and brands are getting called out because they'll see copied and paste posts. So you need to be very mindful of that. The brands that are aiming for quality are doing things a little bit differently. And I'm going to show you that through a few examples. This is one of my favorite brands to follow online, Visit California. You'll see that their community manager has engaged almost 5 to 6 times on one singular post from a prospective visitor. That engagement is extremely quality because we're learning more about them. We're humanized with them. It's really an empathetic response, and it's a sustained engagement. And that's, again, a quality strategy that's very different from a copy and paste strategy. Another thing that some of the other brands who are choosing a quality approach are doing is they're using emojis. They're being real and personable. And again, they're learning from their fans. What can we do to keep our conversation upon conversation going? It's a very different approach. Some of the stronger brands that are doing this that I see have a clear persona. They're humanizing. They're not afraid to color outside of the box. And oftentimes, which I love, Nike and Adidas talking back and forth, but if there's change in the world, we all win, and that's an amazing thing for everyone. So again, a little bit different of approach. They're trying to foster a community, answer customer service inquiries along the way, but they're trying to really foster a community, and they might not hit all of their volume. Regulated industries who are taking a more quality approach, they're using a response matrix in most cases that's pre-planned, pre-approved by legal, but they're finding opportunities to humanize it, finding ways to insert names, emojis. Also, in your response matrix, have a bank of approved questions. At least a question can get you from one place to another and keep the conversation going. Even if you can't necessarily say too much, at least say something and learn from your audience. It's really critical. No matter who you are, if you're doing quality, quantity, my biggest advice, please have a community management playbook. Every single brand on planet Earth should have a community management playbook. It's alignment on those KPIs. What is our brand voice? What is our mission? How are we going to handle this? What do we do with trolls? How are we localizing? Who are we able to engage with? What are our rules of play and escalations? There's a very big difference between someone is bringing a gun into one of our restaurants or there's a legal threat and who needs to see that versus a situation where maybe there's not a legal threat. Maybe it's a really icky customer service inquiry. Community management playbook can bring all of those teams together. It brings your customer care team, your social team, your PR team all to one place and has alignment in your approach. So how do you prioritize if you are a brand that wants more quality, but your resources are tight and you're kind of doing volume right now? No matter what, start with moderating and escalating. Again, we need to have brand safety top of mind. We are in a digital world that really needs that. Engage with that user-generated content. At the end of the day, that's so critical because these are individuals who have mentioned you explicitly. They want to hear with you. Prioritize that over maybe proactive engagement, going out, dropping your name into conversations of people not knowing about you. Really focus on taking care of those customers first. Leverage social listening as your next step. Proactive, again, is great. That for a brand that has maybe some resources, there's where you'll find more meaningful engagement opportunities. And give brand love when you can. That's a way your volume, your quantity and quality can come together. We have one great brand, a very well-known brand. When they have idle time and their teams have gotten through all of their volume, the next step in their game is to go and just give brand love everywhere they can. If their community managers are sitting idle at all for any reason because there aren't enough comments, just go and give brand love to anyone who's sharing user-generated content. In conclusion, know your goals. Have a process, and that'll help you optimize over time if you want to become more quality over quantity. You can do it very intentionally. Get involved when it matters. Prioritize. No matter what, brand should be human online. I love the conversation right before this, all about being human and authentic and mindful. Do that with your social communities as well. Speak to your audience where they live and just have a clear identity. And again, my name's Erica. I'm with ICUC. We're a very large team doing this every single day. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at any time, and I would be happy to answer those. And that's it for me.
Thanks very much, Erica. That's terrific. I've got a couple of questions for you. Perhaps we could just knock these around. Okay, so I'm one social media manager, and I'm expected to provide both quantity and quality in my social media management. So how do other managers like me keep up with this increasing pressure to do this?
Yeah, again, it really comes down to that playbook. That's a way that you can align internally on what quality looks like. So maybe quality is really identifying those influencers or those individuals that have a really high level of reach if you engage with them. So it's really finding those optimal moments to provide quality, and then some of the low-hanging fruit, if you don't get to it, it won't hurt as much. So I think, again, that playbook can help get alignment on what are our goals, where are opportunities for us, and then I can be mindful to engage a little bit more quality in those moments that are necessary for brand evolution. But then, some of the other ones, maybe I can be a little quicker on my response and use an FAQ or use some canned responses to get through volume.
It's a personal question and a curiosity. I'd just like to get your take on it. I'm a great believer in employee brand advocacy. So, what percentage of your employees over Christmas dinner are proudly talking about the company that they work for and the brilliant products and services that they've got, and online and social media are kind of bigging up their own organization and representing it. It's a big factor, isn't it? And also, obviously, in terms of the employability and whether great people are going to come and join. So what's your view on an organization's strategy for employee brand advocacy?
I am extremely passionate about this. I think that LinkedIn is such an incredibly powerful place for brand advocacy. I think when you're creating a content plan and map, employees need to be a pillar in the content that you're creating, because as you're sharing what employees are doing behind the scenes, that's going to be the content that they're going to be the most excited about. And whether I'm on LinkedIn just happens to be a really, professional place where a lot of this content is shared. But if I'm on Facebook, if I'm on Instagram, more than likely, if I'm an employee of a business, I went to school with other like-minded individuals who maybe work in the industry. It's an algorithm. So if I engage in it and I share it, more than likely they're going to engage and share in it too. So I think as a brand, we have a responsibility to bake in our content to appeal to our employees that they want to engage in it, they want to celebrate it and like it. I think we should absolutely be engaging with them too. Just because an employee responds on that post on LinkedIn, I don't think you just leave it. I think you thank them for choosing to work for us. And that's going to make them feel really good about being connected to their employer, that we listen to them as well.
What is it that the brand manager needs to be thinking about in designing the brand? And I did a bit of work in America with the Toyota and the Lexus brand a few years back now, and really trying to get this idea of the customer journey to life and the touch points and how to create a kind of a theme that ran through all the touch points and kind of joined everything up emotionally and almost spiritually. What can social media managers be doing about that? How can they be working with brand managers to actually make progress in this area?
So the best thing you can do is really align on brand voice. You should have consistency in your brand voice and the way that you talk about your products, and the way that you evangelize and amplify what you're doing has to have some level of continuity. Channels are different. So how you speak to the TikTok audience is probably going to be very different than how you're going to speak to the Instagram or the Twitter audience. So there's variations, and you need to plan for that and have sort of what we do and what we don't do sort of named to the game. But I do think that having brand voice or tone of voice workshops internally align on who the personas of individuals across different channels, what they look like and what their common themes and questions are, cater it because it'll feel more personal and it'll be more meaningful. But I think those core values need to come through in how you're talking across channels. And the only way you're going to get that is that if you bring the right people to the room, so your brand leaders, bring your social team, bring your PR team, bring your customer care team, again, united under sort of one umbrella, have these uncomfortable sometimes conversations, have that exercise, have that workshop, and then sort of present what that brand voice is going to be. And then you'll have comfortability as a social media manager that what you're saying aligns to these goals. The other thing, as a social media manager, you have to know what the paid team is doing as well. So what your advertising team is putting out there and how they are promoting the business is going to have implications on how the organic community perceives the brand. So one of the biggest pitfalls is I see a lot of paid teams and organic teams just working in too many silos. And then, you're promoting one way and you're talking about the brand in one way, and then how you're talking organically is different. I think that you should have some continuity in who's responding to inquiries on your paid posts, who's also helping manage your community. You need those brand voices to have some consistency to make it really, really resonate.
And isn't it true the rubber hits the road when I, as a person, an employee, internalize those brand values? I get it in terms of my own interpretation, my own beliefs, and I want to be the brand, and I want to support this brand. I want to fight for this brand. I used to work for American Express, and there's still a bit of blue in me now. I was fascinated by the stories of Pony Express and how American Express sent $1 million of gold bullion by battleship in the First World War over to Europe to bail out their travelers' check holders, and how the American Express Bank was the only bank to stay open in the Wall Street crash, and these kind of heroic, legendary commitments to the customer. I was proud to work for American Express, to see the Centurion on the card. It's something that really appealed to my instincts as a person, as a human being, and was compatible with me.
Yeah, it's really important. I think that brands, again, I think employee advocacy is very critical. A better majority for a lot of brands, it's their employees who are followers of their channels. Especially on LinkedIn, 90% of your followers are your employees. So I think really embedding, again, consistency in how we're talking about ourselves. I really think it's important that whoever's communicating internally also knows what's being shared externally, have content calendars that align, have a playbook that aligns. And once you're on the same page and you're all embedded in those values, even your content creators sort of having a seat at that table, you all need to be working together. It's also a very healthy exercise to do social listening, to be curating insights reports, really understand how the conversations are happening in and around your content, how it's happening in and around your industry. And then that can also help you determine how you're responding in these community engagements. If it might be a big miss, if the community manager is finding over and over and over again in the industry or in listening that there's one question that keeps coming up over and over again, your content should solve for that.
Yeah.
Or you should have a plan to respond and educate, or have a landing page on your website where your community manager can post about it and it can sort of carry through to a bigger answer on your website. And that'll, again, I think, keep that sort of consistency, that continuity, that understanding, especially for brands that have a lot of education in what they do. It can be really hard to overcome. But if you're very consistent and intentional and have a really clear roadmap, and every single time you're sort of getting that same curated answer, it's going to help your community, your digital communities and your audience adapt and understand much better.
Brilliant. Final, just a quick comment, really. I mean, outsourcing support for social media, pricey, risky, pros and cons. What would your advice be to a social media manager thinking of doing that?
Obviously, we hear this every single day. Really at the end of the day, what we find is social media in the landscape of digital customer care can be very, very overwhelming. There are new channels emerging every single day, extremely high volumes, very complex channels to navigate. It's not the pretty work. It's not always the fun work to really dig in. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit that can also happen. If you're a social media, if you're a digital customer leader, you want to evolve your business. Do you really want to be in the weeds of all of that sometimes? Or maybe your team's just not big enough, or maybe it's nights and weekends and holidays or crisis or gap areas. It's just good to have a team in your toolkit that can be activated in those times.
Yeah.
I'd like to think one of my absolute favorite clients told us one time they wouldn't do anything other than outsourcing because they don't know what they don't know. And they want to have a partner that works with a lot of different brands that can provide a lot of leadership in this space. And as TikTok was emerging, as Clubhouse, we're talking about the metaverse now. We are at the front lines of it. Think about your healthcare workers that were, in COVID times, really getting in and really working. Our team doesn't always do the pretty work, but we're passionate, we're protecting, it's safety, understanding. And from a cost perspective, we do all languages, A to Zulu. So if you're trying to scale and you only have, a couple pages that are in different languages, or you have one channel that just explodes and you need help, oftentimes it's a massive cost savings to
Yeah.
get a partner. We're a logistics company. At the end of the day, we're a massive logistics company like Uber. We've taken care of the logistics so that we can have it be cost effective with a sprinkle of thought leadership because it's a complex space.
Terrific, terrific. I'm conscious, Erica, that you've got a round table that you want to get ready for at 2:30.
Yes, sir.
So you're going to be hosting that very, very shortly. But what's the best way for people to get hold of you?
Yeah, obviously we're all on the platform, so shoot me a message. Happy to, connect either while we're here at the conference, or my email is just erica.lovegreen@icuc.social. And obviously I work in the social space, so you can totally social cyber stalk me on LinkedIn or Twitter, any of the different places.
Great.
And you can connect with me there.
Super. Well, 2:30, you've got your focus group, which is going to go into a lot more depth on this topic. So for our audience at home who want to continue this conversation, we do still have a couple of virtual seats remaining. So if you want to join Erica there, please go to the Roundtables tab on the platform. Thank you very much for being with us, Erica. We'll see you again another day.
Sounds great. Have a great day.
Ciao.